As a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I am joining Shobhit University. What about you?
Very good morning to all the participants from India and abroad to the National Webinar Series on Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022, Atmanirbhar Bharat in Agriculture. Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, Meerut, deemed to be university, and its Centers of Excellence, Center for Agriculture Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, extend greetings to all the participants from India and abroad who are attending today the National Webinar Series on Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022, Atmanirbhar Bharat in Agriculture. This webinar series is being hosted on every Thursday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Today is 8th July 2021. This webinar is on the topic Tech Enabling India's Tech-Starved farmers for manifold increase in productivity and income. I will repeat once again, Tech Enabling India's tech-starved farmers for manifold increase in productivity and income. On behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of the university, and on my behalf, and as Professor Emeritus and Chairman of the Centers of Excellence, Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, welcome our today's guest speaker, Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi. He is a co-founder, managing director, and CEO, Agritech Enabler Private Limited, Gurugram, State of Haryana. For your information, Shri Sanjay Vidyarthi, so far, under this webinar series, the university has organized 34 webinars on the topics, the role of agricultural cooperative societies in e-governance. I am very happy to inform that day before yesterday, our Honorable Prime Minister has established and created a new Ministry of Cooperation, to bring in, development through cooperative societies, cooperation. Blockchain technology-based fishery value chain, a self-contained village, a felt need of the day. Spices informatics network value chain. Landana camera, a camouflaged treasure trove, which is yet to be untapped. Smart hill agriculture for optimizing value chain. Mera mobile, Mera marketing. Integrated mariculture, aquaponics, and precision agriculture, in short, MAPA biofarms for income revolution. Smart tribal agriculture, digital agri-tech and industry perspective, land resources information system in India, present and road ahead. Weather decision technologies for increasing farm income by Peter Coramilas Jonas, Vice President, DTN Minnesota. Big data in smart farming, sustainable soil and land management for climate smart agriculture, understanding market dynamics for increasing farm income, how to generate additional profit via simple and attractive approaches in farm produce, role of technologies in mitigating crop risk, adoption of flexi rubber check dam technology, potential benefit for farmers in rain-fed and coastal agro ecosystems, realizing economic benefits of agroforestry, Octosol, organic humic solutions for increasing crop yields and quality while increasing farm income and improving soil health, closing the nutrient loop, phosphorus management in protein farming, artificial intelligence enabled pest management technology for agriculture crop protection without pesticides. Empowering farmers through extension and knowledge dissemination, role of mass media. Poultry monitoring, smart poultry monitoring solutions through AI techniques. Agrobiodiversity, intellectual property laws, agriculture and farmers' welfare, and insight into the issues for India's agrarian economy. Manufacture and application of biochar for increased soil fertility and crop productivity. Sustainable integration of livestock with agriculture and farm income increase. Role of geographical indications on improving farmers' income, lessons from Asia and Pacific region. Dairy informatics network value chain, a dairy tech startup, perspective for farmers' income increase. Spices informatics network value chain, a turmeric startup, perspective for farmers' income increase. Generating sustainable on-farm income through fintech interventions. Nutrition sensitive agriculture, pathway for increasing farmer income. Artificial intelligence and data analytics to ensure optimal nutrition in the soil, harvested food that minimizes human disease. Bioenergy supply chain, a business opportunity for rural enterprise and farmer producer organization. Today is the 35th edition of the National Webinar Series, and which will be addressed by Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi on the topic Tech Enabling India's Tech-Starved Farmers for Manifold Increase in Productivity and Income. Keywords are tech enabling. Farmers who are technology starved, manifold increase, productivity and income. Agriculture sector is the foundation of Indian economy. It employs more than 50% of the India's workforce and contributes almost 17 to 18% of its GDP. At present, agricultural livelihoods are being severely impacted world over as a result of anthropogenic global warming and climate change. Climate change has both direct and indirect effects on agriculture productivity, including changing rainfall patterns, severe drought, flooding, and changes in the geographical distribution of pests and diseases. Indian farming community comprises of about 14 crore operational holders, of which 85% of operational holdings are of small and marginal size. Farmer needs timely, location-specific, and personalized information for effective control on their production, risk, and then market their produce to identified market opportunities. Many national level programs such as Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, Stand Up India, and Startup India have faced operational difficulties for its impact at farm level and farmer level, and that too at small and marginal farmers. Let us look into the reforms towards digitalization of agricultural systems. Doubling in farmers' income by 2022, report 2018, gives 7 mission mode project for digitalization of agriculture. Before that, let me inform the audience that Government of India, through its National Informatics Center, has prepared IT blueprint for agriculture sector through its National Conference on Informatics for Sustainable Agriculture Development in May 1995. And in 2005, National Government of India launched National Governance e-Governance Program in Agriculture. Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 11, and Volume 12B of Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022, Report 2018 of the Government of India, have suggested reforms measures for income rise through digitalization of farm sector. Volume 3, Post-Production Agri-Logistic, Maximizing Gains for Farmer. Volume 4, Post-Production Interventions, Agriculture Marketing. Volume 11, Empowering the Farmers through Extension and knowledge dissemination. Volume 12B, Digital Technology in Agriculture. Volume 11 and Volume 12B, for which I was the chairman of these two subcommittees to prepare draft, reports. These are all with the intent to achieve efficiency gains and convert into proper profitability from farm to fork. Agricultural logistics is the backbone of agribusiness, and agriculture marketing is the brain behind value realization. The farmer's produce must connect with multiple avenues to obtain value at each place, across time and space, and in various forms. Volume 12B has suggested strategic use of digital technology in farming systems life cycle through 7 mission mode programs as given in chapter 10. Digitalized agriculture, digital technology and innovations in agriculture, that is synergizing Digital India, Make in India, Skill India and Startup India programs for transformational reforms in agriculture sector in the form of smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming and smart tribal farming. Digitalized agromet advisories and agricultural risk management solutions. Digitalized agricultural resources information system and micro level planning for achieving smart village and smart farming. Digitalized value chain for about 400 agriculture commodities. Digitalized access to inputs, technology, knowledge, skill, agricultural finance, credit, marketing, and agribusiness management to farmers. Digitalized integrated land and water management system to promote per drop more crop. And finally, very important, that digitalized farm health management for reduction of farmers' loss means synergization of integrated approach for farmers' health, plant health, animal health, soil health, water health, and fish health. There are 3 Farm Acts. 2020 is a game changer. With these 3 Farm Acts and the 7 mission mode suggestions, mission mode programs for digitalization of agriculture can facilitate establishment of deep agri-tech startup in every Gram Panchayat, resulting in 2.25 deep agri-tech startups in the country to help 14 crore operational holders, farming operational holders in the country. We have Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is a Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of making India a self-reliant nation, rested on 5 I's: intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation, based on 5 pillars: economy, quantum jump; infrastructure, that representing modern India; systems, 21st century technology driven; vibrant demography; and demand, whereby the strength of our demand and supply chain should be utilized to full capacity. This was announced on 15th May 2020. Atmanirbhar Bharat in agriculture, it was announced in the 3rd tranche of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Agriculture sector gets 1.5 lakh crore booster. And now, Ministry of Agriculture, once it was having 3 departments, now it has been bifurcated into 3 ministries: Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfares, Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, and Ministry of Cooperation. To recall, we had about 12 talks by the eminent speakers in the various seminars on the related topic: self-contained village, felt need of the day; integrated mariculture, aquaponics and precision farming; weather decision technologies for increasing farm income; understanding market dynamics for increasing farm income; how to generate additional profits via simple, attractive approaches in farm produce; Actosol, organic humic solutions for increasing crop yields and quality while increasing farm income and improving soil health; sustainable integration of livestock with agriculture for farm income increase; role of geographical indications on improving farmers' income, lessons from Asia Pacific region; and dairy informatics, network value chain; spices informatics, network value chain, a turmeric startup perspective; generating sustainable on-farm income through fintech intervention; and nutrition sensitive agriculture pathway for increasing farm income. So understanding market dynamics, that United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in its report to 2013 talks about market oriented farming. The trends have an effect on farmers who need to develop stronger management skills and competencies to cope up with ever-changing farming environment. Market-oriented farming is driven by making profits through selling farm producers products in the market on a regular basis. Means there should not be any demand and supply constraint. Market-oriented farms can still be strongly linked to a farm household, but the goals and decision for the farm are less directly influenced by the goals and decisions of the farm household, but more influenced by markets, prices of produce, and the cost of the farm inputs. Promote farm as a business. Farm management. Market-oriented farming requires that farmers are knowledgeable about farm management. Farm management is a process of decision making that involves setting objectives, planning, implementing the plan, and monitoring its outcome. We have serious and large scale amount of agri-waste. Agri-waste management is an important area. We have categories of agro-waste: paddy waste, wheat waste, sugarcane waste, coconut waste, cotton waste, mustard waste, horticulture waste, jute waste, agroforestry waste, bamboo waste, minor produce, forest produce, non-timber forest produce waste, floriculture waste, sunflower waste, mushroom waste, biogas waste, and livestock waste, fishery waste, and so on and so forth. According to ICAR report on creating wealth from agriculture waste, it suggests about 140 technologies. India generates about 350 million tons of agriculture waste every year. As per estimates given by the Ministry of New and Non-Renewable Energy, this waste can generate more than 18,000 megawatts of power every year for generating green fertilizer for use in agriculture. Agriculture waste generated from Indian agriculture system has been calculated and is found to be more than the GDPs of many countries put together. Government of India has decided to establish about 10,000 agri startups by 2023, and such startups are expected to generate wealth from waste by adopting suitable technologies. COVID-19 lockdown measures are driving a major shift towards a circular economy approach under which agriculture can offer a multitude of opportunities from primary production using precision agriculture techniques to the recycling and utilization of agricultural waste and minerals. That India can unlock approximately $500 billion of economic value, $500 billion of economic value by 2030 through adoption of circular economy business models, and India's biomass-rich rural hinterland can emerge as a potential hotspot for a well-established circular economy. Wealth generation from banana agro waste, it is a very important thing. It can generate, about on an average, there are about 3,000 plants per hectare of banana farms, which makes a total of 267 crore pseudo-stem, which are wasted every year in the country. Because in India, we have about per annum, it is about 267 crore pseudo-stem gets wasted. Farmers and micro, small, medium enterprises are unaware of the promising materials that can be extracted out of the waste, and these materials can be utilized to make value-added products. Agriculture waste is India's problem number one. Synopsis of the topic: massive agriculture opportunities of India. World is coming to the conclusion that it will not be able to feed its 9 billion population by 2050 with the existing agricultural technologies. In India, with its second largest arable land in the world, has one of the worst productivities, yield per hectare from its farmland. The headroom to grow the productivity to global best in class is phenomenal. Structural problems on Indian agriculture. Our guest speaker will address this issue in his lecture. Tech enablement of Indian farmers for their permanent upliftment. Existing agriculture technologies can help improve productivity 10 times to 100 times from existing levels, resulting in manifold increase in income. Major technology research and development organization developments are taking place in the world, which has agriculture as their biggest use case. Now, this is very important. It comes from a person who has seen the technical world and now is working in the grassroots level in agriculture development with the farmers. And he says that most major technology research and development taking place in the world has agriculture as their biggest use case. We have to find out from our major IITs, NITs, 4,500 engineering colleges, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and Indian Institute of Information Technology, or they use agriculture as their best use case. Quantum computing, artificial intelligence, IoT, machine learning, big data analytics, virtual reality, augmented reality, 5G, all of them, their biggest use case is agriculture. I am very happy to host today's talk by Mr. Vidyarthi, Sanjay Vidyarthi on this area. It is very important. It will be a game changer. Unleashing technology and creating world-class agricultural entrepreneurs. This is his mission statement. I've seen it from his brochure. Unleashing technology, creating world-class agricultural entrepreneurs, agripreneurs. And we must ensure that Indian farmer benefits from all these technological developments right up front. It should be at his doorstep. I endorse your views, Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi from the university, and as the chairman of 4 centers of excellence: Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Applications of the university. We are focused on this core issue. Let us now turn to the address by Sanjay Vidyarthi, co-founder, managing director, and CEO Agritech Enabler Private Limited, Gurugram, state of Haryana, on the topic Tech Enabling India's Tech Star Farmers for Manifold Increase in Productivity and Income. This topic will galvanize and motivate the participants watching over telecast through facebook.com, Shobhit University India, or youtube.com/Shobhit University in, for developing many joint collaborative research projects in the form of agri-tech startups in form as a business. In more than 6,500 agri startups, one per block, or even about 2.25 lakhs agri-tech startups, one per each Gram Panchayat. We are moving towards digitalized platform economy in agriculture, as Digital India is the way of life, as envisioned by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Let me invite our guest speaker to address the participants. Before that, let me introduce our guest speaker to the audience. Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi is a co-founder, investor, managing director, CEO of Agritech Enablers Private Limited. In his career spanning 33 years, Sanjay has worked in IT 4 years, telecommunication 14 years, services 13 years, and social 2+ years sectors across the globe in India, Asia Pacific, Europe, and the US in multifunction roles. And last 17 years as managing director in India of 2 NASDAQ listed companies and New York Stock Exchange listed company, top PE owned companies, and a privately owned organization. Sanjay quit the corporate world in 2018 at the age of 53 and founded a voluntary self-funded pro bono initiative, Bharat to India Connect, B2IC.org, to work in the village for building a holistic rural development model. He works extensively with the farmers, village women, youth, and children of the 9 villages adopted by B2IC in Alwar district of Rajasthan, supporting 4 major initiatives: enable development of farmer produce company, enable technology adoption by farmers, enable development of village women and youth entrepreneurs, support the development of government primary schools. Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi, I would like to inform you that in 2002, I was instrumental to have an planning, scheme approved by Planning Commission named Smart Village, but I was not able to operationalize because of the various difficulties which I faced. If that project would have been operationalized, I wanted to operationalize one village, model village in every state and one in Andaman, 29. Today, the country would have been different. That is India. Previously, Sanjay has worked in some of the world's largest and global leaders, AT&T, Lucent, and at Bell Labs, in the mid-sized niche dominant global market leaders, and also in cutting-edge startup funded by top VCs, Centera Systems. In his last corporate assignment as Managing Director India at ICOR, for over a decade, he helped building India's largest and a world-class, aftermarket service company in a complete startup mode and completely indigenously from 2 people in 2008 to 2,500 plus people in 100 plus cities and in 23 states in 2018 with the $70 million revenue run rate serving top global and Indian brands. Congratulations, Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi, to show to the country that how to build up a startup and how to become an internationally renowned Indian MNC. And he is the recipient of coveted BML Munjal Award for Business Excellence. And Sanjay is the Bell Labs President's Award winner. Sanjay Vidyarthi earned his BTech in Mechanical Engineering with honors from National Institute of Technology, Calicut in 1987. He can be reached Sanjay.Vidyarthi at Agritech Enablers in India. We welcome Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi to the National Webinar Series on Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022, Atmanirbhar Bharat in Agriculture, to talk on the title, Tech Enabling India's Tech-Starved Farmers for Manifold Increase in the Productivity and Income. You said it in your synopsis that the income can be 10 times to 100 times. Over to you for your address. Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Moni, and good morning, all the listeners, participants. First of all, thank you, Dr. Moni, for having me on this forum. I'm really enlightened in the last half hour what you told us about what initiatives you have been engaged with, what Shobhit University is doing. So it's really, really fantastic. I think we really need more people like you talking about agriculture and fostering agriculture, interest in agriculture by the young ones. I think I really lapped up when you invited me to really talk about agriculture and particularly talking about how to help the farmers. I think this is something which is very close to my heart. In last 3 years, I've been pretty much really working with the farmers, working in agriculture to really see if there is a model which we can come out with to really help the farmers. In this talk today, there are, excuse me, there are 3 major elements which I would like to really talk about. One is, as Professor Moni talked about in my synopsis, what I had submitted, is a massive opportunity for India in agriculture. This isn't a sector which is down and out. This is a sector which is really up and coming. It's a sunshine sector in my view. It's a sunshine sector. I've worked all along my career. I've worked in sunshine sector, whether it was IT or telecommunication. And I find today that agriculture is a sunshine sector. And we're going to discuss what kind of a growth opportunity exists for Indian agriculture. The second part is, we talk about a lot of initiatives. Professor Moni highlighted so many initiatives in agriculture, a tremendous amount of focus which is there. Sometimes we really overlook the structural problems. In all the talk of reforms or in all the talk of really big things, we really neglect the small things. And these are the things which enable the farmers in a very significant way in order to really partake in all the progress which Dr. Moni really highlighted. So we're going to talk about the structural problems in agriculture, which really inhibit agriculture to become a very thriving business. And thirdly, we're going to really talk about how to tech enable India's farmers for the permanent upliftment. But we shouldn't have a vision to really uplift people for a couple of years and help them with some dole or help them with some charity and say, hey, we're going to help you, but I can't guarantee you permanent upliftment. So we would really talk about how technology can really help, what models we should have to uplift farmers permanently out of their morosity out or their poverty. So first and foremost, let's talk about massive agriculture opportunity which we have. Today, with all the existing technologies which we have, pretty much globally, whether it is the Food and Agriculture Organization or anywhere else in the world, all the agriculture organizations of various countries, there's one consensus which has come in, which is basically to feed the additional 2 billion people which are going to be showing up, with basically 9 billion people. And with the increased economic progress of people able to eat more, we just will not have enough food in about 30 years' time. This is a given. And that is really such a big challenge because every country, every major technology company, every major technology institute is really pouring billions and billions of dollars to really develop technology, develop solutions to really up productivity in a very significant way. There are startups in the US and Israel, in any part of the world, in Europe, which are really working on cutting edge technologies to really improve productivity of the farmland, and that is, it is a real big shift from agriculture. There is nothing much happening, etc., etc. Here today, every country is really looking at and saying whether we will be able to feed our people in 30 years' time. So that is a very scary scenario that in 30 years, we may not have enough food to really feed 9 billion people. So that with that context, and if you look at India, which has the second largest arable land of 160 million hectares, US has the largest 174 million hectares of arable land. We have 160 million hectares. With such a large arable land, we are pretty much in every commodity if you pick up, wheat or rice or vegetables, etc. We are either number one, number two, number three, as far as the volume is concerned, globally in our produce. But when we look at productivity per hectare, we are among the worst in the world. And I'll share some data points for you in just a second. Okay, so if you look at, are you able to see, Dr. Moni, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, I'm able to see. Yes.
All right. So if you look at any commodity, any major commodity, whether it is wheat, we grow about 2.8 tons per hectare in India. That's the average yield in India. The best in class in the world is 8.9 tons by Netherlands, which is like 3.2 times than what we are growing here. On rice, 4 ton, best in class is 12 ton. In India, sugarcane, 66 ton per hectare, best in class Peru, 125 tons. Cotton, 1.6 tons per hectare, best in class 4.6 in Israel. In vegetables, potato, 20 tons in India, 44 tons in US. Tomatoes, 19 tons in India, 524 tons, and that's not a mistake, 524 tons in Belgium. Fresh vegetables, 13 tons in India, 77 tons in the US. So if you see the headroom for growth, which we have for increasing our productivity from our current levels, it's almost 3 to 10 times or 3 to 7 times basically than what we are growing. So that's one big issue which we have in front of us, that the productivity per hectare yield is significantly lower as compared to what we see in the rest of the world, right? Now, if we analyze, so this is the growth. This is a massive opportunity. Just by using existing technologies, which are what other countries are using, just by using that technology, we will be able to deliver anywhere between 2 to 10x of productivity as far as our farmers are concerned. So that's a very big, very, very big headroom for growth. Now, with that massive opportunity, and this is not even taking into consideration what new technology advancements can really do as far as technology enhancements are concerned. Just with existing technology, what the rest of the world is using, we would be able to up our productivity anywhere between 2 to 10 times, essentially. Right? Now, let's analyze why we are not able to really get to this productivity. And this leads me to my second segment, which is, let's analyze what are the structural problems we have as far as Indian agriculture is concerned. Everybody talks about agriculture, but we really don't understand what's happening. What is really agriculture sector in India? We just don't really understand what are the significant problems with this agriculture has. So let me first, Dr. Moni really mention a little bit about how the sector looks like. Let me share with you what is that our agriculture sector is looking like, essentially. Just give me a second. Okay. So if you look at, there are 145 million or 14.5 crore farmers or households basically in India, as Dr. Moni also told us. Now, out of that, about 88, this data is actually coming out from NABARD and NSSO data. About 88% farmers are small and marginal farmers. So about 12.5 crore farmers are small and marginal farmers. Their average land holding is 1.5 acres, 0.6 hectares is the average land holding. Now, let me give you the perspective what we are talking about. We're the second largest arable land, 160 million hectares. Average land holding here is 1.5 acres per farmer, basically. In the US, the average farm holding is 125 hectares per farmer. 125 hectares. We're talking about 1.5 acres versus 125 hectares. Now, when you have such a small farm, you're not able to grow enough, essentially. So that is one big issue as far as why the small farmers' earning is very less. Very interestingly, the average size of the family of these farmers is about 4.9. This data is coming out of NABARD. NABARD did a survey, financial inclusion survey. Average family size of farmers is about 4.9. That means 600 million people, about 60 crore people are dependent on these small and marginal farmers. That's 45% of India's population. Let's understand the opportunity of this 60 crore. This is 2 times US's population 80% of Europe's population. What are we talking about? $5 trillion economy. If we just galvanize this 60 crores, you will be, 10 times the economy what we are doing right now. It's such a significant number, 60 crores. Every major development parameter of India, every major development, why should I say major? Every development parameter in India gets impacted by this group, this 125 million farmers and 600 million family members. Whether it is education, whether it is health, whether it is economics, if this group does bad, all the parameters goes for a toss. If this group does good, all the parameters will start looking up. Whether it is education, whether it is health, or whether it is economics. So let's understand this is the dynamics of small and marginal farmers. Now let's see what they're earning. We are saying average agri income of a farmer in India, all farmers, not just small and marginal farmers, all farmers in India is 3,140 rupees a month. This is the average agri income coming out of NABARD's Financial Inclusion Survey, 3,140 rupees a month. Why? If you talk about small and marginal farmer, that still reduces to about 2,500 rupees a month. Now, whether it is 3,140 or whether it is 2,500 rupees a month, what are we talking here? This is a family of 5. You're talking of 2,500 rupees or 3,100 rupees a month, really, of agri income. That's what the supporting 5 people essentially. And then we set a very underwhelming target. Sorry, I disagree with the kind of target setting which happens in India. Doubling farmer income. What are we talking here? Maid in any of the major cities in India, a part-time maid, any of the urban cities in India, earns 5,000 to 6,000 rupees. Part-time maid per family she goes and serves. Anywhere, if she serves 2 or 3 families, she's easily earning anywhere between 12,000 to 15,000 rupees a month or even more. Where is the incentive for my farmer to continue doing farming? That's my question. When you have such an underwhelming target of increasing the agri income by 2 times, from 3,140 rupees to 6,280 rupees, or for small and marginal farmer from 2,500 to 5,000, where is the incentive for these small and marginal farmers to continue farming? That is what we should really have in the back of our mind. This is such an underwhelming, particularly with I showed the productivity numbers, particularly when there is such a big improvement possible, whether it is a mundane crop, like a cereal crop, like rice or wheat, or it is a cash crop like sugarcane or fruits. Everywhere there is a possibility of 2 to 10x of productivity enhancement. With that kind of enhancement, if we are just talking about twice or doubling the farmer income, I think that is a very underwhelming target, right? Now, let's get to what are the structural problems. So this is how the farming, scenario is. Very large percentage of farmers, which are basically earning very, very less, and very large population dependent on this farmer. So that's dynamics. Let's get to what are the structural problems essentially. So, and specifically, because they are 88%, let's talk about small farmers. So they have 1.5 acres of land, very low yield and productivity because the farmland is very small, and therefore they have a very low agri income, about 2,500 a month. What is the reason why they have such a low productivity? And if you analyze what's happening as far as low productivity is concerned, the biggest reason there is really abysmally low technology adoption. And I'll come to that in a minute. But very, very poor technology adoption. Now, in order to really get technology, they just do not have ability to access the credit essentially. Very poor, because they have very poor access to credit, they can't take loans. Therefore, there's very abysmally low technology adoption. They can't afford technology, therefore they can't put in technology, therefore their yields are low. Even from 1 acre of land, we're doing a proof of concept for last 8-9 months. Even from 1 acre of land, your productivity for crops could be at least 3 times than what you're really doing, 3 to 4 times what you're doing. Your income levels could be as high as 30 lakh rupees just from an acre of land. I will come to that when I talk about technology. Interestingly, the other structural problem. So here, you must understand what is the structural problem here. The structural problem, number one structural problem is access to credit, because they can't afford technology, and they can't buy technology because they don't have money. 70%, and this is again coming out of NABARD's financial inclusion survey. So we want to solve farmers' problem. Let's solve farmers' problem. 70% of India's farmers take loans from non-institutional lenders. Who are these non-institutional lenders? 70% farmers. Who are these non-institutional lenders? These are the Mahajan and the middlemen, right? This is what we are talking about. Only 30% lending to farmers is happening through organized channels, the banks, the NBFCs, the NABARDs of the world. Now, you can't solve that problem of credit access for the farmer. You can't solve anything for the farmer then. You can't, if he is dependent on the middleman throughout, you can't solve any problem for the farmer. So the fundamental problem which you see with the farmers is inability to access credit. I see a lot of big talk about from what we are trying to do, but that is the real data coming out of NABARD's own data. This is government data, 70% lending, so 70% farmers don't have ability to access credit. You can't access credit, and therefore you can't adopt technology. Let me clarify this particular point to you, to all of you, in terms of what is the challenge which is happening. So the government provides a lot of stuff. Let's take a system like drip irrigation system, right? It's really an amazing technology, absolutely fantastic technology. Only 1.6% farmers in India adopt this technology. What drip irrigation does is manifold things. If I have the power, the technology which I'll tell every farm, I'll give, I'll actually give free of cost to every farmer to deploy drip irrigation. It cuts down, in our what should I say? We can't see beyond our noses. So everybody in India is running about really, hey, we should really go and save water. So focus on every building. You should really do water harvesting, etc., etc. That is big focus. Government spends huge amount of money in promoting water harvesting. 90% of fresh water in India is used for irrigation. 90%. Globally, that number is 70%. So all of us can really do whatever we want. We're really focusing on saving 10% water. All those ads, brush karte hue, you should not really have a tap. That's 10% water. 90% of water is irrigation. Fresh water irrigation consumes 90% of water. What are we doing to really help the farmer to cut down on use of water? Nothing. Only 1.6% farmers in India have drip irrigation. What drip irrigation does immediately is cut down water consumption by 50 to 60%. Number one, 50 to 60%. It could be higher, as high as 70%. What if I have a farm, as a proof of concept, we have a farm as part of Agritech enablers. Farmers put water for hours together. Our entire field of 3 acres get completely irrigated in 15 minutes using drip irrigation. 50 to 60 to 70% savings of water. It increases yield because it's drip technology, which is basically the water is dripping into the roots. We are not flooding it, because flooding, then the roots can't breathe. Therefore, this enables fantastic growth in the plant. So the yields, your productivity, yield is 50 to 60% higher. Now, if you are a student of science, what this also tells you is that 50 to 60% saving of fertilizer, because you are really now putting fertilizer also through the drip, and actually that is only going to the root essentially, you're not wasting fertilizer. So 50 to 60% saving in fertilizer. And then it is soil rejuvenation, because soils, when you are putting less fertilizer, you are now allowing the soil to also rejuvenate. Soil has this ability to generate nitrogen. When you put fertilizer, soil shuts itself automatically to generate nitrogen. So when you reduce the content of fertilizer, you're now reducing essentially, you're improving the ability of soil to generate nitrogen. So drip irrigation cuts down your water consumption by 50-60%, increases your yield by 50-60%, reduces your fertilizer consumption by 50-60%, improves your yield quality, absolutely amazing yield quality, and helps rejuvenate your soil. So fantastic technology. That's what my point was. Now, this fantastic technology, various governments across India, they provide subsidy to the farmer. That subsidy could be depending on what type of a farmer you are. If you're a large farmer or you're a small or marginal farmer, you could get 50 to 70 to 80% subsidy, right? Now, that 50 to 70%, the government provides it, is a no problem. The balance 30% is required to be provided by the farmer. Now, if I go by prices of a good company like Netafim or a Jain irrigation, as far as drip irrigation is concerned, 1 hectare of drip irrigation, double line drip irrigation, would cost about 1.6 lakhs. Now, as per the government way of really looking at it, they invite tenders, and whoever is lowest, they'll say, well, this is the baseline price and I'm going to give you 70% of this as subsidy. So their baseline for a single line is essentially 90,000 rupees in Rajasthan, where I work with my farmers. So Sarkar says, I'm going to give you 70% of it. So that's about 60,000 rupees, 63,000 rupees. Now the balance money has to be provided by the farmer. Now, if he chooses not to go with a third-rate vendor and a vendor like Netafim, he has to fork out 160, about 1 lakh of rupees for a quality system. Anywhere between, so let's put it this way, anywhere between 30,000 rupees to 1 lakh of rupees for drip irrigation system, double line drip irrigation system. Where in the hell do we think that small and marginal farmer is going to get that money when his income is 2,500 rupees a month? Why are we not even thinking about it? We keep talking about doubling farmers' income. This is an absolutely amazingly structural problem. You expect the farmer to fork out 30,000 rupees to 1 lakh of rupees. Where is he going to get that money from? 70% of those farmers you are not able to service. As the government of India, you're not able to service 70% of farmers for lending. So unless you sort out that access to credit, how are you going to help him really enable to deploy technology? So that is one part of it. The second part of it, this is again, all of it is government data. One has to really look at it and say, what is that is happening? Only 8% farmers in India are skilled to start some level of skilling. Imagine 92% of farmers have not received any kind of formal skilling in farming. Now these are all shockers. When I read all the data which was there in NABARD's report and NSOC data, if I were running a business in any of my last 30 years when I was running a business, if somebody presented this data, this is the state of affairs of my business, I would say this is really, really very bad essentially. 92% of my farmers have not received any kind of training. You know why? Once you start digging in, you understand what is the problem. We have all these center of excellences, all over India. There are 20 center of excellences built with, along with Indo-Israel projects, center of excellences for vegetables, fruits, etc. Then there are all these ICR centers, So without naming people here, once I asked one of the very senior person in ICR, what is the problem? You have such a great stuff which is going on. Why can't you really train the farmers? One gentleman said, we are just about 5,000 people. How do you expect us to go and train, 14.5 crore farmers? That was one response I got. The other response from a head of one of the center of excellences was, hey, we are the well. हम तो कुआं है जी, प्यासे को कुएं के पास आना चाहिए. Can you imagine 14.5 crore farmers getting to 20 odd center of excellences for training? Now, these are the things which we need to really go and resolve. How do we come out with solutions where we can train these farmers wherever they are in India? And with the latest technology, with the latest, these are structural problems. We're not solving their ability to access credit. We're not solving how they are being skilled, essentially. We're not solving how they can use technology. We are not enable them to really use technology. So these are real structural problems which we face, essentially. Now let's take a look at how the technology adoption is in India. And this is something which leads us to really the third part of my discussion, essentially. So look at it, from our perspective, what we're trying to do here. With all what we have done in India, with all the support of the government of India, the chart here shows you what kind of a level of technology adoption is there in India. Only 5% of farmers in India have tractors. This is again NABARD's report, not my, not any other data. NABARD's report, 5.2% farmers in India have tractors. 1.8% farmers are having power tillers. 0.8% farmers sprinklers. Just 1.6% farmers drip irrigation. 0.2% farmers harvesters. The issue which I see here is with such low, this is the reason why our productivity is very, very low. We are really still using very archaic methods of really farming. We haven't really gone past what we were doing in the 60s and 70s. And that is one reason why we are talking about, such low productivity, because this is what we are talking about as far as technology is concerned, right? Now, we must really figure out how to resolve the fundamental challenge of technology adoption, essentially. And if I look at what is happening in the world, which we started off the discussion in the beginning.
Sir, your PPT has stopped, sir. Please share again.
This the last one. Okay, just give me a second. By the way, folks, I would strongly recommend, very strongly, if you are interested in agriculture and you really want to talk about agriculture, please go and pull NABARD's Financial Inclusion Survey. It's about 180, 190 page report. And it is the best document you can find on Indian agriculture. It's an amazing document. Please go, if you are really interested in talking about agriculture, please go and read that document. It's a phenomenal document about the state of affairs of Indian agriculture. And most of my data, what I'm talking about is coming out of that, except for the Food and Agriculture Organization data, which I talked about, the productivity. Now, coming back to where we are as far as technology is concerned, and what we can do. To give you a perspective, there is so much development which is happening. I just read an article from the Deputy Managing Director of NABARD talking about that there are 800 startups in India, and he was talking about how people in agriculture should be really heading those startups, etc. The first question came to my mind to ask the Deputy Managing Director of NABARD was, sir. And this is a question I asked with all the Agritech companies. So we are massively into deploying technology as far as our farm is concerned. We're doing a proof of concept, so we are evaluating what technologies we should be really deploying. Zero Agritech companies in India have a business model for small and marginal farmers. All they are focusing is on the top 10% farmer. When you start asking all these good guys, big companies, please tell me your customer. Mahindra and Mahindra, ITC, Dabur, right? They have no focus at all to really build a business model, how these small and marginal farmers and the farmers of India going to get their solution. My question at that time immediately came out in my head was, who's actually paying for this technology? Because the 88% of farmers in India cannot afford that technology, whatever. whatever these guys are developing, whatever 800 agri-tech startups in India are developing, where is the money with the small and marginal farmers to afford this technology? This is a question everybody should ask. Dr. Mani, you said 10,000. That's the plan. 10,000 startups India should have. Tell me, who's going to pay for that technology? Because this guy, poor chappy, doesn't have money. So the small and marginal farmer, this is a debate essentially what I am putting a question. He doesn't have money. And 70% of the farmers are actually being lent money because they can't get money from the banks and any of the NBFCs or NABARDs. So first question we should really figure out is, how are we going to enable this technology for these farmers? Because if our business model is based on, which is what these 800 agri-tech startups, I've spoken to so many agri-techs, right from, irrigation companies to smart farming companies to sensor companies to ERP companies to post-harvesting solution to green chillers, etc., etc. I always ask them, we are big guys, we can afford this technology. Tell me, how are you going to really support this technology for small and marginal farmers? None, zero have built their business model essentially in order to really sell these solutions to small and marginal farmers. So we can have 10,000 startups. But if those 10,000 startups didn't build a business model to go and sell it to small and marginal farmers, what's the point of really all these startups here? The 10% farmers are not going to really do anything as far as Indian agriculture is concerned. They're must in making the money. They're not the guys who are essentially running the Indian agriculture. So that's what our mindset should be. Now, if you look at what is the technology scenario, particularly with respect to what's, what low level of technology adoption is, where is the world going as far as technology? Let me share this chart with you essentially. So, I mentioned about quantum. The reason I mentioned these big technologies just to really give a perspective. Yeah, Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he wrote a book, very nice book, and he mentions that 3 core technologies which Microsoft is working on. One is AR, VR, virtual reality, augmented reality. 2 is AGI, what he calls general artificial intelligence. And 3rd he's talking about is quantum computing. Quantum computing is in a very nascent stage. They figured out the idea, but they haven't really figured out how this is going to work. When I said this is everybody in the world. Trillions of dollars are being poured in quantum computing. Trillions, not millions, not billions, trillions of dollars is one of the 3 technologies which Microsoft is putting their bet on. Right? Because it really blows past the Murphy's law, and had 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times than computing power than what we have today. And that's what quantum computing will do. One of the first project which they have picked up. Now imagine this, when somebody tells me that youngsters want to work in agriculture, please bring a youngster to me and tell me which industry is telling him to really work on such technology. First project which Microsoft have picked up to really work with quantum computing is devising new type of fertilizer. The synthetic fertilizer which you see today, which you're using, the method that these were invented in 1910 by Haber and Bosch. Since then, because the process of these fertilizers is so complex, it has not been tinkered. There's no improvement in that process. So first thing which quantum computing Microsoft is going to solve is come out with a new type of fertilizer which can mimic bacterial processes, which can reduce methane content, essentially, which the fertilizers release, and which require very minimal energy to produce fertilizers. First, can you imagine? This is $1 trillion technology. First project which Microsoft is attempting to solve is come out with a process for a fertilizer. Big data analytics. One of the big I talked about small and marginal farmer. One of the big overall structural problem, think about it, is actually nationwide crop planning. Today anybody wakes up and he goes and farms anything if wants to farm in India. So Punjab farmer, we have so much discussion about this. The Punjab farmers, they grow in a water-starved area. They keep growing rice, right? Likewise, Mr. Sharad Pawar asked all the farmers in Maharashtra to grow sugarcane, a water-stressed area, to grow a water-guzzling crop like sugarcane. Right? So anybody who chooses whatever they want to grow, they are growing as far as India is concerned. There is no crop planning which happens. Now just look at what other countries. I used to live in the US and really enamored by what these guys are doing. There's such a massive crop planning. So Montana, you cannot grow anything but wheat. Idaho, you cannot grow anything but potatoes. If you want government support, if you want government subsidy, you cannot grow anything but potatoes in Idaho. California, you cannot grow wheat. You have to grow vegetable because that's the best climate for growing vegetable. Best soil, best climate for growing vegetables. So they have done massive crop planning, which area based on soil condition, temperature, environment, etc., the crop should be grown. And you see the difference in productivity. I presented to you, India, the best productive which we are able to deliver is 13.5 ton per hectare of fresh vegetables. California does 75 tons. Why is it doing 75 tons? Because of soil condition, because of environmental condition, because of all the things which are necessary for really growing a crop. Now, why can't we have nationwide nationwide crop planning based on soil condition, temperature condition, environmental condition, water condition? What is what is inhibiting us to really? This is going to be a project 10 times bigger than Aadhaar, because the soil condition changes every 1,000 meters. That is how intrinsic and complex nationwide crop planning can be. But the results could be phenomenal, because now you would be growing crop exactly suited for that particular soil, exactly suited for that particular environment. Second thing which happens here is, when I say crop planning, Dr. Moni touched about when he was talking about it. Would you believe that there is no supply and demand analysis which happens in India as far as agriculture is concerned? We try to figure out our pricing basically for a small farm with the data which we see coming out of Azadpur Mandi. And it is, if you analyze that data, you will break your head, because it is such a amazing data. You'll have such fluctuations of supply and demand without any reason, essentially. And that's why, because there is no supply and demand analysis, that's why you see one year the pricing of onions is great, so everybody and his mother is going to grow onion as far as farmers are concerned. Obviously, next time what is going to happen is the prices of onion are going to crash. Why is this happening? Because there's no supply and demand analysis which is happening. There's no ability to really go and figure out what crop to grow, which place, and ability to really match with supply and demand. If we did nationwide crop planning, that's exactly what we are going to solve. We're going to solve two issues: which crop to grow where, and secondly, we match supply with demand, essentially. So you grow 10 tons because that's what is the demand in the market is for 10 tons. So these are heavy duty technology. This is heavy duty work, if you ask me, as far as nationwide crop planning is concerned. Now, IoT and ML, imagine India's 160 million hectares of land inundated with sensors to really figure out what is the soil condition, what is the moisture level, what is the pH level of the soil, what is the light intensity at any given point in time, what is the humidity which is there. All of that getting fed and say, well, this is the time you should really irrigate, or this is the time when you should really do fertigation, or this is the time where you are really enabling precision fertigation, enabling every parameter which helps farming to be controlled. Can you imagine, 160 million hectares of farms inundated with sensors to pick up soil characteristic, temperature characteristic, water characteristic. That's what precision farming and smart farming would be able to do. In our farm, we are actually deploying precision fertigation, and I'll tell you, it is such an amazing people who have been doing farming for ages, for generations. When we talk about precision fertigation, first of all, they say, what the hell you guys have come up with? It is such an amazing technology. It is what it allows. So what currently, if the farmer doesn't have a drip irrigation system, what he's doing is basically spreading fertilizer based on his analysis, how much it really has to, be spread, right? So a kilo of fertilizer, you're basically going and spreading. Now you cannot ensure that your plant actually is getting the amount of fertilizer which needs essentially. There could be more or there could be less because there is no way to really gauge. Drip irrigation sorts that out a little bit. That now at least you will be able to ensure that your plant is actually getting fertilizer. Each plant is getting fertilizer. But you still, with drip irrigation system, you will not be able to ensure that every plant exactly gets the same amount of fertilizer across the field, right? Because drip irrigation system cannot control the quantity which is getting fed to every plant. That's where precision fertigation happens. With precision fertigation bypasses drip irrigation systems distribution for fertilizer. It enables basically you can now say I will mix 1,000 liters of water and 100 liters of fertilizer, and then through the drip I'll really put it in. So you can actually precisely put both the quantity and the quality of your fertilizer. We don't do organic farming. We are firm believers. If you have to really talk about helping small and marginal farmers, we really need to come out with solutions for minimizing fertilizer consumption rather than really getting into organic farming, because organic farming is still some ways away through economy of scale to really bring down the prices where everybody can afford eating organic produce. We got our vegetables using precision fertigation. We got our vegetables tested through an NABL accredited lab. 100% pesticide free, 100% as per FSSAI norms for vegetables. We are better than the organic produce as far as pesticide or any other harmful chemical is concerned, just because of the fact we're using precision fertigation. Now, these are technologies which can really change what the farmers are doing as far as our use of technology to improve productivity. Artificial intelligence. Dr. Moni talked about very many things in artificial intelligence, how it can be used in post-production, how it can be used in pre-production, very many applications. One of the applications which is so critical for the farmers, particularly when you start really getting into the big leagues, let's say the farmer-producer organization gets into now tomorrow, they'll start selling to Pepsi for orange juices or for beetroot juice or carrot juice or whatever, Now, Tropicana would need exactly the quantity commit from the farmer. So Tropicana tells the farmer, look, man, I have to run a factory. I need every day 10 tons of beetroot or 10 tons of carrot for producing my mixed vegetable juice. So I need a commit from you that you need to give me 10 tons of carrots every day. I'm just picking a number. Now, if you don't give me, if you give me 10 tons, your rate is 1,000 rupees a ton. I'm just picking a number. But if you give me 8 tons instead of 10 tons, that your rate drops to 800 rupees a ton. This is how negotiation with these companies happen. This is how AI, the farmers were forced to figure out how do you really predict the yield. And that's where AI came into picture. So what you do is there are many companies, who are working in India, outside of India, essentially on yield prediction. So they do, first of all, images of the crop on a continuous basis through satellites, which will give them up till about 6 feet of imagery so they can figure out, what's happening with the crop. Then they do crop imagery through drones. Based on those images and using AI algorithms, they figure out what is the yield which you're going to get. These are such a critical, fascinating technologies which are coming up in agriculture to really help improve farm efficiency, improve productivity, and improve farm efficiency. 5G. I've worked in telecommunication industry, worked in Bell Labs, mother of all telecommunication development. 5G's biggest use case is going to be agriculture. We talked about, 160 million sensors. Today, If you 150, 60 million hectares of farms, if you start putting really sensors, it's just not able to really get that data in a central place. The idea would be, when you are talking of FPOs, that you sit in one particular place and manage hundreds and hundreds of hectares of land through precision fertigation, precision farming. The only way that can be enabled if you have a solution like 5G. You can't do that solution based on a Wi-Fi, which is currently what is available. So on a small farm, Wi-Fi works perfectly. You want to do a centralized big farm management, which is very, very cost effective, can really bring down your manpower cost by 50, 60%, improve the farm efficiency by 50, 60%. 5G is the way to really go. So these are some phenomenal technologies which are there in order to really bring massive change in the productivity and improving farm efficiency. So now when we talk about so this is essentially what I was talking about, what kind of technologies are available and how you can tech enable them. Now coming to fundamental issues still there, we haven't really solved. We've given you the problem.
Sir, your PPT has stopped, sir.
Yeah, I stopped it. I don't need right now. Yeah, we don't need it. Right. I'll come to another PPT in a minute. So the issue is we still haven't sorted out how do we provide this technology to the farmers, right? Because we've discussed about the problem that government provides subsidy, but then still unsubsidized cost, which we expect the farmer to really pay. Now we can have all these technologies, but if we don't have a business model to provide to the farmers, that's a big issue, a fundamental issue. So when we analyze this problem, so we means I'm talking of Agritech enablers. When we analyze this problem, we said, look, somewhere this conundrum has to be sorted out for the farmers. We need to sort out the issue of access to credit. We need to sort out the issue of skilling for the farmers. We need to sort out for the farmers market linkages. How do we sell his produce? And we need to really ensure that farmer becomes a business manager. He starts understanding cost, profit, market growth, etc. Today, farmer, if you ask a farmer, particularly smaller, even decent farmers, how much did you really actually spend last year? Did you really make any money, etc.? I think they don't have a clue, essentially, most of them, in terms of the cost structure, in terms of the revenue structure. So what in Agritech enablers, what we said, well, let's go figure out these 4 issues for the farmers. Okay? So what we do, and this is a model, I don't know whether this is scalable, we just started really this, but I think this is one model which can really enable the farmers in a very significant way, one of the many models. What we are doing for the farmers is we tell them, look, we're going to take your farm along with you. It's a partnership along with you. So we're going to really help you develop this farm. We're going to arrange for the funds for the technology. You don't have to bother. We're going to help you over next 3 to 4 years to really operate this technology. We're going to really help you establish market linkages. So build the market essentially where you're going to sell this produce. And over next 2-3 years time, we're going to really help you become a business manager, how to manage this as a business. I'm going to tell you this very small instance so that you understand how this is essentially. In the villages I work with, there are amazing farmers. So I call these farmers who use their they use their head in farming as Kisaniyat wale Kisan. They really use their head in farming. They were the first earlier, not very big farmers. These are farmers with 2-3 hectares of land. So between little bit, at the border of small and marginal farmers. 7-8 years ago, they started using drip irrigation. Today, 100% of their produce happens on drip irrigation. Quality of onions is amazing, beautiful quality, absolutely fantastic. So I call them Kisaniyat wala Kisan. And then I met with this farmer near Jaipur in Bassi. I was trying to, and I wanted references of people who are using polyhouse, and this from the vendor which we were negotiating to build a polyhouse, etc. This gentleman, he has, again, not a very big farm, about 2.5 hectares of land. He had polyhouses when I met him, when I started meeting him about 3 years ago, about 2 polyhouses of 2,000 square meters each. Today he has something like 4 polyhouses of 2,000 square meters. He was earning from those 2 polyhouses of 2,000 square meter, 4,000 square meters an acre. 1 acre of polyhouse, he was earning about 35 lakhs. So I said, what the hell, what are you talking about? Yeah, I meet with farmers, they're not earning anything. You're talking about 35 lakhs. So he's growing capsicum, he's growing cucumber, he's growing, some crops. And then, of course, he has his open farm. Yeah. So he has full-time labor. He doesn't have ad hoc labor. It's full-time labor. He figured out that in Jaipur, between the marriage season and the tourist season, there are about 4 or 5 months when there is huge amount of requirement for these red capsicum, yellow capsicum. This is a farmer doing. He didn't get any support from any marketing company, Ernst & Young or any of those guys. Farmer saying, yeah, I figured this is a period where, there is a lot of requirement of these things. He went and tied up with an agent who was selling to the hotels. One farmer, 2.5 hectares, right? Then he started growing capsicum in his poly. He got subsidy when about 7-8 years ago, subsidy from the farmer. His income from, and then in the open farm, he showed us patch of about 500 square feet. He says, this 500 square feet covers my entire expense of the farm. That 500 square feet, he was growing asparagus. Says the tourists which come in Jaipur, they basically eat a lot of asparagus in that time. This 500 square feet asparagus, I sell for 500, 600 rupees a kg. It covers my entire expense of the farm. So this was amazing eye-opener for me. Drudgery, farming, drudgery, this, that, and this guy is 3 hectares of farm earning a huge amount of money. What I did was I took the other farmers of my village to meet with this gentleman in Bassi. I said, you should really see this guy. Because this guy is an amazing, he uses his head like anything. He figured out the marketing part, he's figured out his operations, he's figured out what he's going to really grow, what he's going to sell. These guys who were, doing onions and with collaborative farms, etc., some 60 acres of onion, etc., they're good farmers, amazingly good farmers. So when I took them, so they really liked everything. And this is fantastic, they started talking interest, etc., So the name of the gentleman who I took, his name is Karan Singh. He's a really fantastic farmer, amazing farmer. I said, Karan Singh ji, aapko Balluram ji se aisa banna. Balluram is the guy who's doing polyhouse farming and open farming in Bassi. I said, you should really become Balluram. He said, but Balluram is a businessman. Look, this is what is ailing our farmers. He said, Balluram is the business. I said, that's exactly what you need to become. You need to really start, you should really start thinking like a businessman rather than just a farmer. Because that's what he did. He is a businessman, just 2.5 hectares of land. He figured out, market mein, this is what gets sold in the market. If I did asparagus and in this quantity, this is going to really cover my expense. Now, this is the change which we need to really bring to the farmers. This dole and charity, etc., all that people should really go and put it in, in the nearest well. This is the kind of stuff which our farmers need. They need to be trained to become business people. They need to become trained in technology. They need to be handheld in operating businesses, their farms as a business. So what we are in Agritech Enabler, what we're doing is we don't charge anything from the farmer, by the way. Our model is revenue share model. What we say is, hey, whatever income you have from your farm currently, Mr. Farmer, so you have one, and we just deal with small and marginal farmers. So let's say you have a 1 acre of a land or 2 acres of a land. Whatever income today you are earning with whatever you're doing, that's your assured income. We're going to give you post-dated checks. You can encash your checks as the time comes. That's your assured income. You're earning, let's say you're earning 40,000 rupees per annum from your a couple of acres of land. Here is the check we give you. You rest assured, you're in, that income is saved. Now we will deploy technology. Let's say we do a poly house, or let's say we do an open farm where we are doing, what I say is a little bit of a vertical farming and an open farm. Whatever technology we do, if using that technology increases the productivity, whatever revenue comes out of it, predetermined formula, you and I will share that revenue. Why do we share that revenue? Because all that investment is our investment. All the investment in capex is our investment. All the investment is operating expenses is our investment. A farm can eat up, a polyhouse can eat up, 1 acre of polyhouse can eat up 7 to 8 lakh rupees or maybe more. When if you talk about the farm labor, etc., about 10 to 12 lakh rupees as annual cost. So it's our cost, and then we do a revenue share. After 2 or 3 years, when we recover our investment cost, the farm is 100% given to the farmer. By that time, we ensure that he is able to run the farm. By that time, we ensure that all the business processes are set up, market linkages are set up, and we are done with it. Now, whether this is a scalable model, I'm not sure, because not everybody has the gumption to really go and do this kind of stuff. But this is what actually is needed. You need to handle the farmers soups to nuts, enable him to deploy technology, enable him to operate technology. There is no skilling. I'll give you, I can go on and on, my 3 years, amazing experience for me. So when we launched this company about 7-8 months ago, not 10 months ago, basically, last August, 11 months ago, we were hiring people. We hired, our first employee was from GB Pant University, top university of India as far as agriculture is concerned. Tamil Nadu Agriculture University and GB Pant, number one, number two. So we hired a person and we said, well, look, what we want is, we are new. I don't know much. I've seen farming, but I really don't know how things work. You need to figure out step number 1 through step number 100 as far as polyhouse is concerned. You need to tell me this is step number 1 and this is step number 100 as far as operating polyhouse is concerned. The person we hired essentially is, हम तो polyhouse में, हमारे यहाँ एक polyhouse था, हम तो 2-3 बार गए हैं वहाँ पे, हमें तो ज़्यादा बताया नहीं polyhouse. Polyhouse, by the way, for productivity enhancement, it's a phenomenal tool. China has gazillions of polyhouses in various areas, and they have thought through what they are doing. So where it is really great to increase the productivity, no high winds, etc., they have asked farmers here, polyhouse lagao. Gazillions of polyhouse. So I said, you know what? She says, the person says, 2 or 3 times I've been. This is top University of India. You're not teaching them any technology for forward-looking technologies, right? Then I said, fine, no problems. You're sitting in the session was still on. Why don't you approach your professor and ask them, please tell me step number 1 through step number 100 of polyhouse, how to operate a polyhouse. You know what the professor turned around and said to if this is recorded, please go ahead and share it with your government people. The professor turned around and said, आप Google पे जाके search करो कैसा polyhouse चलाते हैं. This is GB Pant University. And we should be ashamed, we should be really ashamed of people who are trying to run these organizations essentially. This is what is happening in India. People telling a student, please go to Google, figure out how to run one of the most productive technologies. If you're not teaching your kids how to really operate these technologies, what are you teaching? I can give you examples of how myopic our thinking is. There's a huge project, Dr. Moni, which is going on right now in Ministry of Agriculture to develop VR-based solutions. Ernst & Young is working on it. I said, fantastic, because I had somebody came and gave me at our farm, at Agritech Enablers farm, a full demo of virtual reality, how to train the farmers. I said, fantastic. This is an amazing tool for training the farmers, because I know there is no way, no how right now. There is no solution to train our farmers. Our farmers do not know what's happening as far as best practices in farming is concerned. They just do not have an idea essentially. And I'm literally working with the farmers for 3 years. I've gone door to door to really organize them, form FPC. I've seen them what they are doing as farming practices. So when somebody told me Ernst & Young has been engaged by Ministry of Agriculture to figure out VR solution for training, I said, wow, this is very forward-looking, fantastic thing. The Ernst guy, some Ernst & Young guys say, no, Sanjay, but this is not meant for the farmers. So who is this meant for? Oh, this is meant for the scientists of IRIs and all these guys, essentially. I said, are you kidding me? What are you doing? Your farmers need training. They don't have anything. Who are you training? Why would you waste resources on building solutions for training your scientists? You should be really putting a lot of focus on how to train your farmers. And I'll give you very simple, very simple exercise. If you are in agriculture, please go back and see how your farmers are doing soil testing 101. First step of farming. Please go and check out they are doing soil testing. I actually invited IRI to conduct soil testing in the first village I started working. And the villages, the farmers who've been doing farming for years, they were just amazed. ऐसा करते हैं क्या हम? ऐसा करते हैं soil testing. This is what is happening. We're not teaching the farmers how things are supposed to be done. What are we doing? Again, on soil testing, I asked in the village, so soil testing कैसे होता है? Sir, वो मैं गया था वहाँ पे लेके टेस्ट करने के लिए गया, बंद था वो. These are problems somebody really needs to understand. So this Behror is where the nearest testing center was. It says, I went to Behror, that center was closed. This center is about 6-7 kilometers essentially from the village I was working in. Now you imagine from a small and marginal farmer perspective, we sit in ivory towers, we don't look at those. You ask him 6 kilometers he has to travel to give his sample. If the guy is closed, again, poor chappy, again, he has to go 6 kilometers, come back 6 kilometers, and spending money to really go there and come back. So that was it didn't work. He said, "Mujhe karna hi nahi hai. Main 2 baar gaya, band tha, I will not do it." Then the government said, we will get it collected at the farm level itself and panchayat level itself. You do bring your soil sample, give it the panchayat, will get it collected with it. Fantastic. Good solution. The results came after the sowing season was over. I saw the result lying in the panchayat bhavan. I said, ये result क्या? ये सर पिछले time का जो है ना soil testing उसका result अभी आया है. What's the point then? You tested soil, you already sowed, etc. Now you are telling me that, see, these are fundamental issues which we need to really solve. All the big talk which we do as far as, they will do this, 10,000 startups, these are fundamental problems. Your farmers can't even test the soil properly. You're not even giving them all these soil cards, etc. Please go to a village and see how those soil cards are filled up. They take one sample of, imagine every village may have 1,000 to 2,000 people essentially as farmers. 1,000 samples you are sending to a lab at the same time. Have you ever gone and seen how many samples these labs do? These are fundamental issues which we need to figure out what's the solution to that. And I see we are spending very little time on these things essentially as far as agriculture is concerned. We talk about big things. A farmer can sell in Nagpur. He cannot test his soil. What are you talking about selling in Nagpur? He can't buy drip irrigation system because he can't really afford to provide farmer share for it. These are fundamental challenges which we need to figure out essentially. Now, Dr. Moni, so this is where I say, it's a huge opportunity. The difference in summation, what I would say is the huge opportunity for India. Productivity levels are 3 to 10 times lower than global productivity levels. With the world not able to produce enough food in the next 30 years to feed the 9 billion population, we have an amazing opportunity to step up. to increase our productivity to really feed the world. I mean, that is what we can become. And that too, just using existing technology, forget about the new technologies which are being developed in the world. So there is a huge opportunity. Just in India also, there are just about 5 to 6% farmers in India grow vegetable. Our vegetable consumption per capita is one of the worst in the world. Just increasing the vegetable consumption here in India is going to galvanize a huge amount of income for the farmers. So that's one part of it. In order to get to this opportunity, we need to address the structural problems. Structural problems like access to capital for affording technology, problems like skilling of farmers. These are some of the huge challenges which we have for the farmers, which we need to address. Helping them become business people so that they can understand what is cost, profit, market, growth, etc. And third is, how do you tech enable? Tech enablement, because there is huge amount of focus in coming out technology like precision farming, like big data analytics, like artificial intelligence for yield prediction. So one of the models which we are doing is basically through private enterprise, trying to really help the farmer in revenue share mode. We're working, just to give you a perspective how this thing can be panned out. There's some echo which is there.
Mr. Sanjay, the Honorable Chancellor has joined. So,
yes, sir.
Honorable Chancellor has joined, and you summarize it so that I will invite him to give his report.
Yes, I was on my last part. So, in terms of technology enablement, we need to figure out how to provide for the farmer share, which is what we are doing as part of Agritech Enablers. We're working with NBFCs like Rangde to create a technology fund specifically dedicated to small and marginal farmer, which can be used to provide loans on nominal charges to small and marginal farmers for adopting technology. This is a tech fund which is going to get launched very shortly by Rangde, which is a RBI regulated NBFC. So these are certain measures which we can take in order to really provide tech enablement for the farmers. You asked me to share my presentation. Maybe I can share it after the address of the Chancellor. So that is all as far as this topic was concerned from.
In me. And I've seen another person in me that voice the same thing. As a technocrat, I have embraced agricultural, transformation, and the same thing you are also doing it. So this is a time that I would like to, thank you. And three major issues which you talked about it. One is that massive agriculture opportunity of India, structural problems of Indian agriculture, and the tech enablement of India's farmer for their permanent upliftment. You also said it that major research and technology organizations, they take agriculture as a case study. And in whether it is a quantum computing or artificial intelligence or IoT, machine learning or big data analytics or virtual reality or 5G, they use agriculture as a use case. Where are we? Where do we stand? And this is the time I would like to invite our Honorable Chancellor, Shri Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra, who has established 4 centers of excellence to promote technology in rural India. And this is the first university to establish Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, and Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Application to promote informatics and e-governance to standards, Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies. And such a person I would like to introduce to you and also to the audience. Shri Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra is the co-founder and Chancellor of Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, Meerut, and Shobhit University, Gango. He is a prominent social entrepreneur based in New Delhi, carries leadership role in many organizations. He has been nominated as the co-chairman of National Council on Education of ASSOCHAM and the oldest apex chamber of commerce in India for the year 2020, 21 and 21-22. He is a persistent advocate of initiatives for education for all, secular values, crisis management through diplomatic and peaceful ways, and globalized system of learning and harmonious coexistence. He has been instrumental in the development of a number of higher educational institutes in India, in North India, including 2 universities, many research centers, an Ayurvedic medical college, College of Naturopathy and Yogic Sciences, and a 100-bed eyes hospital. Shri Kunwar Vijendra is instrumental in establishing 4 centers of excellence: Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Application, and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application to promote informatics and technology-led development in rural India. He is also planning to establish a Center for Health Informatics and Computing in the university, actively involved with a number of social organizations. Acknowledging his contribution in the area of education and other concerns, he has been copiously honored and awarded. Traveled widely in India and abroad to the countries like USA, UK, Germany, Australia, Russia, China, South Korea, Vietnam, Mongolia, United Arab Emirates, Mauritius, Rwanda, Uganda, etc., etc. And to participate in various professional and social and educational activities. Dr. Shri Kunwar Vijendra is a Gandhian, avid reader, keen learner, social worker, social speaker, and social worker, and occasional poet and a dreamer. And Honorable Chancellor, we welcome you to address the very important international webinar series on the topic, which is to your hearts: tech enabling India's tech-starved farmers for a manifold increase in productivity income. To give you some information about Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi. He is a technocrat, headed many multinational organizations, worked in AT&T Lab, got the AT&T Lab's President's Award, and today, he quit the corporate world and he's working with the farmers to bring in how to have a technology-enabled farming to address the structural problems. This 1 hour 43 minutes, his talk was so much, so much that a person like me, I felt that is another technocrat has joined my mission. And with this, I would like to request you to give your valedictory address over to the Honorable Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Professor Moni. And good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Mr. Vidyarthi. It is indeed a pleasure to have you with us on this platform today. I was listening you backstage. And today's topic is such: tech enabling India's tech-starved farmers for manifold increase of productivity and income. This is actually what we all are talking about. And I am thankful to Shobhit, the Institute of Engineering and Technology, the Deemed University, and its Center for Agriculture, Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies. Both these centers are chaired by Professor Moni, that persistently he is working in this direction. When Honorable Prime Minister said that we have to look into the possibility to double the income of our farmers by 2022, everybody had a question in mind. How? Why? How it is possible? But there are people, there are technocrats, bureaucrats, entrepreneurs, policymakers, scientists, start-techs. So many people are there, those who believe in their dreams. And if you believe in your dream, you believe in the dream of the country also. So we started this series, and in this series, every time, every week, we have a wonderful speaker who shared the journey, who does not ask questions, who is giving answers. And these answers are giving a confidence to the nation that yes, it is possible to bring the change. I can see on your wall, Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi, Barack Obama is there with a big word, change. I remember in 2009, during his presidential inaugural, I had an opportunity to be invited there. And on Capitol Hill, everybody who was there, it was a sea of people. And they were the people as good as our farmers, maximum of them coming from pan India, even from other countries around. And everybody had a hope. Yes, Obama has come. Now change will come. And that hope was given because he was not criticizing the possibilities or the situation. He was telling, we are the change. We will bring the change. We will do what is required to be done. What Mahatma Gandhi said, what Vivekananda said, what many others leaders said anciently and philosophically. And this is exactly what this webinar series is addressing about. We believe, yes, we are the change. We believe that we will bring the change. And this change is possible when people like you, they come and join our mission. They come and share their journey. When they say, okay, fine, yes, I was a leader in tech world, in corporate world, but my name has been given Sanjay. I was just imagining Sanjay in Mahabharata was the person who could see the present, who could see the past, and who could see the future also. And he was narrating the complete present and even the future many times to Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra was a king who was not able to see. He had feelings, but he was not able to see. So there was a need of a Sanjay who could speak, who could say, oh, look what is happening. And today when you were talking, when you were telling the farmer should become a Balluram, then suddenly you reminded me of that Sanjay of Mahabharata. That you are talking about what should be there, and you are not talking only about what is happening there. That every farmer has to be Balluram also. And second in your name is Vidyarthi, a student. So from the leader, again, you become a learner. And this learning is happening, and this is what exactly is required. You know, when you were talking about Ernst and Young and all other things that what our government has hired the people around, many times, you know, we refuse to learn. We wish to lead. We do not say we will learn from the grassroots. Just a minute. Okay. So we generally feel we wish to lead, and to lead we need some data, statistical data. We do not wish to go on the ground and see I am hailing from a small village. I know what are the challenges. You must be coming from a small village. Professor Moni is hailing from a small village. We have seen what are the issues. Sitting on a chair, you cannot plant a tree. You cannot plant a tree. For that, you have to dig and you have to go down, even the level of the earth. And this is exactly in last 36 weeks we are doing. These webinar series is not only seen, watched, appreciated, followed, admired, not only by our students, but by many policymakers, regulators. Globally, they are looking at that. And we are finding that people are coming back to us and they are asking how we can join hands. This joining hands will happen when you said that soil testing, you have to go 5 to 6 kilometers. So it means there is a possibility of having startups in every village. Even these boys and girls of BSc Agriculture, they can start a startup of soil testing labs. When we can have path labs, when we can have other labs, why can't we have a soil testing lab, lab? This is a possibility, and scalability is also there. Such things need to be done. Because agricultural logistic is the backbone of agribusiness, which we are missing, and I am sure that by your using all technology and enabling the farmer through technology, you must be providing. And agriculture marketing is the brain behind adding value. These two things we all need to work together. And when I look at when Honorable Prime Minister was talking a few years, maybe last year, about self-reliant India. So he was talking that there are 5 pillars on that. 5 I's initially, he said, that intent has to be there. I am seeing that intent is there. But that intent, second I was inclusion. We have to include people around, which is missing somewhere. Because those who are on the lower state of the society as farmers or marginal farmers, we do not think that they exist even. Tech companies, when we talk, they do not even think about them. We are looking for rich farmers who can buy my technology, who can buy my solution, with whom I can sign MOU. It is not hand-holding, it is business. The third was investment. If you will ask a farmer who is struggling to survive, okay, I'm having a wonderful technology now. Somebody suggested it to me. Why don't you invest in that? He cannot. They do not have the possibility of that. Infrastructure. Infrastructure, either we expect the government to build infrastructure. But I personally believe that building an infrastructure is a duty of everybody, every company. It is not CSR. It is developing an ecosystem which will be beneficial for you and me in future. We are an educational institution. It is my responsibility of our university to develop infrastructure, not only within our boundary, but for those who are beyond that boundary, which is very important. And in technology, generally what is happening when we talk about blockchain, when we talk about big data analysis, when we talk about artificial intelligence, IoT sensors, everything we are talking about, we forget that these are not our customers, but we are their consumers. They are producers. They are giving us life. And that thing we have to develop. And for that, innovation is required. You know, innovation does not mean that some very big thing has to be done. In every area, something is small. What your company is doing is wonderful. An innovative model has been developed. And this model is going to help many people around. I think this is exactly what is required. And I'm thankful to you that, yes, you were talking about it, because so many things are there. I was looking on different documents, and I found that so much can be talked about the problems. When you said that we have a myopic vision, I think we have a myopic mission. Vision is fine. Vision is okay. We will do, we will develop, we will do. Mission is a bit myopic. Hand-holding is missing somewhere. We have to hand-hold each other. We can blame anybody and everybody. We are good in that. But blaming each other will not help. What will help when we will say we will hand-hold each other? The weakest link in the chain, we will go and hold that link. And we will see that changes happen. And there are people like you, technocrats, those who understand the world, those who have seen the world, they are required to intervene, to be a part of this journey. And I must thank you. I'm grateful to you on behalf of maybe all farmers that you decided to be a part of this wonderful journey. Because there are many people, those who dream but do not dare. And I am sure after listening to you, after listening to Professor Moni, after listening to maybe me, they will also think that dreaming is not enough. You have to dare to fulfill your dreams. And this is exactly what this webinar series is all about. It is not all about talking technology. Generally, people feel Professor Moni is there. He's a technocrat, hardcore technocrat. He will talk technology only. It is about passion. It is about vision. It is about giving a reason to people to believe in their dreams. Because many people come to us, sir, I want to start this thing, but I do not know where to start. And when we say, okay, go to your own village and see, you will find so many avenues to start many things. Just go and ask and start doing. गिलहरी बनना पड़ेगा राम के सेतु की, और जो गिलहरी बन जाएगा वो ही राम का प्रिय हो जाएगा और वो ही इतिहास हो जाएगा. So thank you very much to become that important part of this journey. A lot of things have to be done. I will not speak on the topic. You have spoken enough. Professor Moni will brief again, definitely, so if time will permit. So a lot of things have been spoken. Just I wish to say that let this journey continue. And with Shobhit University, I welcome you. Whatever you feel that with Shobhit University, your company can do. Because you call your company as enabler. And the biggest enabler in the society, in the world, is education. So if education, technology, experience, exposure, and zeal and passion, they will come together, then yes, it will become a bigger enabler to change the environment, to create an ecosystem. And if we are able to change the fate, or we can help the farmers, support the farmers of even one block, not the country, then our contribution will be worth spending a life for that. Thank you very much, Professor Moni, for your continuous effort. And thank you, Siddharth Vidyarthi ji, Sanjay Vidyarthi ji, you are doing a wonderful job. अभी मेरे मुंह से सिद्धार्थ निकला है, सिद्धार्थ यही बुद्धा थे, सब छोड़ दोबारा से शुरू करेंगे.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words. No, we will certainly, I mean, I have so much things to get done. We will certainly like to work with Shobhit University. There is so much to be done that whatever help we can do, I mean, just to give you a perspective, we can really draw upon help from you. We're writing actually every process. I come from a very process-driven industry. We're writing every process of whatever we are doing. And I'll share with Dr. Mani the kind of soil testing process document we have written, and we're writing it for everything. So we would really use help from Shobhit University to jointly develop this, which can really help a lot of farmers essentially.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sir, for your kind valedictory remarks, and also your discussions with Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi. And I'm very happy that every week we are able to look for that. Still we have to walk more. The thing is that we thought that we can reach village, but the thing is, reaching village is not that easy. Because they said that is the last mile, but we consider as a first mile. It has to be there, and I am very happy that today your talk was, Mr. Sanjay, that with your vast experience and the way in which you talk that how educational institutions are supposed to understand the technology before they teach. That it is you can see that this is the university where we set up centers of excellence to work with industry. And the faculties of teaching gets also associated with that. This is the model which we have to adopt in every higher education institution. And the Chancellor also very nicely said it, that we have to look beyond the wall of the building, of the university, of the industry. And this is what we should do that. And we can also share with you today your topic and the 3 areas which you put it. That is fantastic that agriculture has become the use case study, use case for a lot of research and development. And I have voiced for more than 25 years, maybe 35 years, when I started looking into IT in agriculture, when nobody was working. I was working alone in 520 districts, and I put it that agricultural information system, animal husbandry information system, fisheries information system as 3 components of the 28 sectoral database development programs when I was the project head for district information system program in 1987, when the whole IT companies were shifting people abroad. And this is one thing. And 95, once again, it is my own initiative. I thought that as a technocrat, I should do something using the platform, and through a big conference in Vigyan Bhavan, have a national conference on informatics development for sustainable agriculture, brought an IT blueprint. When I asked for money to conduct the conference, my office said that, my director general said it, there is no budget for you. I wrote to nationalized banks to get 6 lakhs rupees at that time to conduct the conference, which gave a 15 informatics network IT blueprint. The thing is that this is opportunities are enormous. Somebody has to walk out of their AC room environment. Agriculture, India is an agrarian economy, and Indian agriculture economy has to be digitalized. It has to be respected, and this can become food bowl for the entire world. Said it very nicely. And you also said it very nicely that why can't we have, the thing is that national, this commodity development planning, production planning, and big data analytics, and farmers training. This is what we even developed a program for e-governance and farming for the farmers. And converting agriculture science graduate through our MTech in agriculture informatics program to convert them into use IT in agriculture, to consider agriculture as the preferred option, career option. And rather than they becoming agriculture officers in bank and agriculture officers in block level, and they don't even block level agriculture officers don't even have a register of the farmers of that block to interact with them. And they are not even agriculture officers not even trained on land use planning. You said it, KVKs and centers of excellence. Even 6,500 agriculture officers, 6,500 rural development officers. When I said it in 2012, I was chairing a technical session in National Institute of Rural Development. I told them that there has to be a integrated land use planning for sustainable agriculture, rural development. Agriculture officers are not trained on sustainable agriculture. Rural development officers are not trained on sustainable rural development. Agriculture officers do not know what is a rural development scheme, and rural development officers do not even know agriculture development planning, and there is no land use planning, training. So even government doesn't want even to train this 13,000 people, 6,000 agriculture officers and 6,500 rural development officers. And I asked the National Institute of Rural Development, why don't you have a national scheme? You are coming under Ministry of Rural Development. That is 2012. I wrote my talk has been also come in their own publications, that as a chapter. And these are all the training of farmers, training of officers associated with agriculture one, and they have to walk with barefoot. It is essential. And today I am very happy that you don't have to go for even the existing, you can with the existing technology available. And you said it very clearly that 10 times to 100, you can have the manifold increase in productivity and income, which has to be achieved. And the case study which you brought it is very important. You said that there is no pesticide in your producers, and you are able to send it to the market, and you are also having a revenue sharing model. And I liked that revenue sharing model. Fantastic. That you giving a check for his income which he is doing it, and then after that you bring it fund for technology adoption, and then after 3 years you are giving back to him. And this is a model is a very important thing that, which, as a chairman of some of the NGOs, having farmers in Tamil Nadu, I was the honorary chairman for an NGO which was having 6.5 lakhs farmers in Tamil Nadu. No, I have been promoting this one in a very big manner, technology driven and so on and so forth. So the thing is that for us, that it is enormous opportunity, and your synopsis is well written. And it is like a mission and an objective to be achieved. Massive opportunity and structural problems we have to overcome. 85% of the farming community, and then training of this 85% of the farming community that are small and marginal farmers. All my publications are in this year for the last 35 to 40 years. Smart village scheme, I got it approved in 2002. I was not able to operationalize it. And if this is done, this is, the country, we can see that it's a sustainably developed, villages in the country. We don't have a comprehensive database on a farmer. And that is, we can apply big data analytics on farm level and farmer level, provided we have a comprehensive agricultural resources information system and comprehensive farmers information system. As a chief advisor at IT in the Department of Agriculture Cooperation during the doubling farmers' income by 2022, I gave a note that the need for national database on farmers, 2016. Now only the government is talking about Agri-stack. And that technology stack is one aspect, but we should have what is the problem of the farmer at his farm for the last 20 years? Why he is not able to have that much productivity? Why he is not able to adopt the technology? We should have it 20 years, that problems of the farmer at his small farm. We have to have a database. So thank you very much that, today is an eye-opener for many people. And our request is that, as rightly said it by our Honorable Chancellor, we should work together, and we should take in a big effort to train our farming community through our 4 centers of excellence. And last word, by Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi, and then I will request our Honorable Chancellor to give this piece of his mind.
Yeah. Dr. Moni, whatever you said, particularly I was really enlightened by both yourself and the Chancellor's words, essentially. Very encouraging, what the Chancellor said. And you have really opened a huge amount of thought process, which we have to really go back and see how we engage with institutions like Shobhit University, what Mr. Chancellor was also saying. I think from our perspective, one man, one organization cannot do it all. We really need like-minded people, all of us, wherever we are, to really join hands. Because, imagine when people, I think we really don't understand the benefits of really helping this sector. Imagine 60 crore people, if you just help them reach a certain level of prosperity, what will become of this country? I mean, as a business person, as you and I, who have investment in mutual funds or stock market, imagine where this stock market is going to go if these 60 crores, their consumption level increases by 2 or 3 times, purely from business perspective. Benevolent part is one, but just to appeal to people who are in the business, think about it. 60 crore is twice the population of US, twice the population of US. I mean, if we bring these guys just about 50%, 5 or 6 times of what they are today, imagine what this country is going to be. We're going to be, 5 times bigger than US in every respect. I think this is where, our head should be. And I would really love to work with Shobhit University and see wherever we can help and wherever we can engage with you in this mission of ours, we'll definitely love to have it, And thank you so much for having me on this platform and allowing me to share my views. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, and it is very encouraging to listen to you that we all have to come together and work. 600 million, 60 crore is a big number indeed. And we all are working for the same as enabler in different ways, through education, through technology, through vision, mission, and all those things. So definitely that change will come, and we are the change. We have to remember and we have to bring that change. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We close the webinar and leave the studio, and thank you very much for the participating in this very important national webinar of the Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology. And I thank Honorable Chancellor and Honorable Vice Chancellor and faculty members and participation, and above all, the guest speaker, Mr. Sanjay Vidyarthi. Thank you very much, and we close the webinar and leave the studio.